Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. It is April 16th, 2020, and I would like to welcome you to this week's episode of When Life Needs a Detox. My name is Carol White, and I am your host as well as your life detox strategist. Now, today we're going to be talking about information. How to know who, what, and why to believe. Now, we've been talking a lot about information over the last several weeks concerning the coronavirus. And unfortunately, there is always going to be some type of information coming through that is going to either scare you, infuriate you, or confuse you. So, we're going to try and work through that because it causes us far more stress than we need to have. And in this particular era, the last thing we need to do is be unsure and to be unnecessarily frightened. That's the last thing we need. So, this week's topic is information. How to know who, what, and why to believe. It seems that the stories surrounding the coronavirus are never ending, and the massive need to disseminate and share these bogus stories grows greater with every passing day. Now, here are some that have just cropped up. Excuse me, got a little itch. There is a video out now with an anonymous white male telling everyone that the stimulus checks are to be paid back when you file your 2020 tax returns. People are passing this video around like crazy. But if I ask the sender who the young man is, and my favorite question, did they verify his information? They're offended by my lack of gratitude. By the way, this information is a false claim. And I have included in my feed an article on the stimulus check. It's a website you can go to. They'll tell you everything you need to know about that stimulus check. Long story short, it is a tax credit for the year 2020. However, the way it has been worded in this document, you do not have to pay back the tax credit. It is what it is. They handed you $1,200. You do not have to pay it back. Okay. Now, there's another video out. It features an anonymous white woman ranting about how we are not in the midst of a pandemic. People die from colds, flus, and pneumonia all the time. The government should be more concerned about the additives in our food, and we essentially are stupid for following governmental and medical guidelines for our protection, like sheep, and we need to protest. Now, while her rant has some validity because there are additives in our food that really should not be there, here's where she falls short. The reason we don't panic over flu deaths, or there aren't as many flu deaths, is because there is now a flu shot that has been created to fight off severe symptoms of the flu. They even now have a pneumonia shot. I took one last fall. So if there are preventative measures in place, no one's going to get frustrated or irritated or panicked because of a death. They're going to find the reason for the death. They're not unconcerned, but there's going to be a way to say, but it's only here. Let's figure out why this happened and maybe we can prevent it from happening again. And the same thing with pneumonia. Now, while social distancing has been prescribed, we as citizens still have the right to go outside. We just happen to be smart enough to err on the side of caution. And a side note, for all of the people that have sent me this video, to date, nobody knows who she is, where she's come from, or what her credentials are, but they continually spread this woman's message like gangbusters. I don't get it. Now, here's a good one. There is a video out by a Dr. Eric Niputi, chiropractic medical doctor from St. Louis, Missouri. Now, he starts off in this video talking about false death classifications and ultimately comes to the point where he's advocating the use of zinc and quinine as an alternative treatment for the coronavirus. This video, I did my homework on this. This video by Dr. Eric Niputi has been viewed 21 million times, and the information is false. Zinc will soothe a sore throat, but that's about it. It's not going to do much more. Quinine is a low-level malaria treatment. It works against the parasites introduced to the body by an infected mosquito. But it doesn't have any effect on the coronavirus. And this is why. There's a big freaking difference between a parasite and a virus. Medication to kill a parasite is not necessarily going to kill a virus. They're two different things. So it doesn't work. But once again, this video is being upheld as if it's the Holy Grail. And just to be clear, quinine has been banned in the USA because of its side effects. Guys, I was looking up the use of quinine because I remember as a kid, my dad used to buy this horrible cough medicine called 666 with quinine. And I looked it up. You can't get quinine without a prescription, number one. Number two, the use of quinine has been banned in the US, and they banned the use of this 666 because of the side effects of 666 with quinine. There's 3 pages of adverse side effects from this medication. So you got to be careful. I'm going to tell you something. My mother always used to say, a lie is as good as the truth if you can get somebody to believe it. Now, there's always going to be somebody that will say anything to get you to believe what they're saying, to sway you to think their thoughts, and incite you to take up their actions. This is why I constantly encourage you to fact check the information that is sent to you before you send it out. The coronavirus is nothing to play with. People are still contracting this virus, and as of yet, there is no solid vaccination or antibody to fight it. Now, there are people that are getting better, and thank you, Jesus, people are getting better, but people are still getting sick from the coronavirus. This is why accurate information from reliable sources is so important. Now, I think the real reason for the spreading of this information is as simple as this. Having information to send out, even false information, gives the sender a feeling of control in the midst of an uncontrollable event. It also gives, I think, a sense of hope. But I am of the opinion that false hope does more harm than good. In these times, you need the truth. So make sure that your sources are reliable and that the information you're receiving is factual and true. By taking these actions, you are exercising control over your circumstances as opposed to having your circumstances control you. Now, that's all I have written, but so for the most part, I'm done. And I want people to understand, I'm not picking on white folks. I'm not, because I did mention that these videos were all authored by Caucasians. Now, I'm not saying Caucasians are coming up with crazy ideas. What I am saying is, whether they're white, black, pink with purple polka dots, if you don't know who they are and they're not willing to identify themselves, why are you listening? Seriously, somebody is in a video telling you, hey, this is information you need to have. Who are they? What's their background? Are they qualified to give you information? And I get it. A lot of people would say, well, Carol, we don't think you're qualified to give information. Well, I'm a life detox strategist, and I give you information based upon how you can make it work in your life and give you peace. I'm not telling you to go out and do anything. What I am suggesting is, here's a strategy. You're getting this information. Here's a strategy to get the toxicity that is potentially going to harm you out of your life. But the choice is yours. If someone is bringing you information, if you don't know who they are, find out who they are if you can. Because I had to research for the chiropractic doctor. Because even though you could see his name, you could not get I couldn't really tell what his last name was. And I could barely figure out the name of the company that he was working for. But I did find out, it took me a minute, but I figured it out. And I looked him up. And another thing, I know people are like, oh, Carol will look up anything. She's going to make sure she has information. You're absolutely right. But please don't depend on me. If I have a computer to look this stuff up and you're seeing me and you're hearing me say, look it up, this means you have access to a computer or a cell phone, which is a mini computer. Look this stuff up. You have access to search engines. You've got Google, you've got Bing, you've got Firefox. You can find out everything you need to know about this coronavirus from legitimate sources, and you don't have to depend on anonymous people of whatever race bringing you information, scaring you to death, and putting you in an unnatural state of fear. You have to control the information that is coming to you. Get ahead of it, get control of it. You will find that your level of fear and toxicity will decrease by leaps and bounds. And that is all I have for you this week. Again, my name is Carol White. I am your life detox strategist, and I thank you so much for attending this week's episode of When Life Needs a Detox. I love you all to the moon and back, and we're going to meet up again next week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.